A very good morning to you on this 27th day of October. It's a Monday morning, and I trust that you have a jump in your step as you've joined us on the fifth connection. This is the channel on which we talk you through the storyline. We are given to telling the greatest story ever told. It comes out of the Hebrew Christian scriptures. And this morning we are in Ephesians chapter 4, and we are in verse number 25. The beauty of the biblical text here in Ephesians is that it talks about what liturgy is all about. And chapter 4 is given to that because liturgy has to do with public works. It's a unique Greek word. It's the word that's commonly or wrongly headed, translated as worship. Liturgos. Leitos means public, and ergos means deeds or works. Public works, good deeds that edify the body. Chapter 4 is given to how the assembly edifies itself as it pursues truth together. Can I repeat that? Liturgos, which is liturgy, has to do with how the assembly edifies itself by pursuing truth together. That is what becomes the glue. It fosters dialogue between believers, and out of that dialogue, dialogos rises, which is where we want to get to. Logos, dialogos. Where two or three are gathered in my name, Matthew 18 says, there Jesus rocks up in a unique way. He says, there am I in the midst. So we are in verse number 25 now of the chapter, where Paul the writer moves from etiology to topology to vitality. He moves to from a tall ordered hierarchy to a flat disordered ecology in order to see a reordered morphology where believers are changing. They are constantly morphing into that which is, or should I say that who is Christ. Doesn't sound grammatically correct, but it is morphing into becoming more and more like Jesus, more and more like Christ. And so verse 25 picks up after Paul explains the negatives of what this ecology is all about. He's now going to pick up on the positive, and he's going to go into the area of concretion. He moves from concept or precept to concretion or practice. Remember, biblically, there's no distinction like we call a dividing line between theory and practice. Now, biblically, theory has to do with theory-laden practice, and practice has to do with practice-laden theory. These two are intertwined. They are inextricably linked to each other. And so in chapter 1, 2, and 3, the plans of God for the assembly is unfolded in the prompts for the assembly. And the prompts for the assembly is enfolded in the plans for the assembly. There's no strict dividing line between doctrine and duty, because doctrines have to do with ecologies of practice. Doctrines have to do with policies, listen to this, policies for action. Not a list of stuff, black ink on white paper that you believe and never live out. And so we get into verse number 25. Now, verse number 25 starts out by saying that we are to put away falsehood because we are members of one another. Now, verse 26 and verse 27. Be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger. Do not let the sun go down on your wrath, the text says. And what's the therefore, therefore? Remember, 4 times in the 32 verses, the word therefore appears, and you have to figure out from the context whether therefore is referring to the previous context or flow of the story or the succeeding context. Verse number 7 and verse number 8 says, but therefore. And then verse number 13 says, until. There you've got the 5 paragraphs mapped out for you grammatically. And each of the paragraphs has to do with dying into life, because that is what the Christian life is all about. Not diving into life, but learning to die into it. That's the movement from conception to concretion. And now Paul is going to talk about internal state matters. Not as in political state matters, but your internal state, our internal state as the believing community. He says, listen, be angry and do not sin. Now, I'm going to do a whole host of episodes on the fact that emotions are made. They are not born. They are formed and not fixed. That's a wonderful discussion to go into. So Paul is discussing internal state matters, what we call your feelings. That's your internal state. It's called, by a very interesting descriptor, it's interoception. It's what happens on the inside of you, your feelings. We are all born with an internal state, but emotions are not like fingerprints. You are not born with emotions. Emotions are culturally calibrated expressions of internal feelings. I will repeat that. Emotions are what is culturally calibrated in terms of my internal state. Because you learn how to respond through your culture and the way you are brought up to respond in a particular way. Some people are born angry. You get the impression that they just are born angry. The scripture says, be something. Be angry and do not sin. Now, how in the world do you pull that off? As I mentioned, I'm going to spend a whole host of episodes talking through that. How that in our own lives, we need to learn how to calibrate our emotions. And so the text here says, be angry. It's quite legit to be angry, but in your anger, do not sin. Be strongly disposed to real evil in your inner being. And do not miss the mark. Do not sin. Now, how in the world do you do that? Because anger is a very strong emotion. But culture and upbringing tunes us to that internal state, and it gets expressed in a particular way in each of us. So we need to learn how to calibrate it. How do you calibrate your anger? Well, the text gives us 2 markers, 2 don'ts, 2 things not to do. Do not let the sun go down on your anger. That's 1 don't. And verse 27, do not give an opportunity to the devil. Now, how do you calibrate? Well, Don't prolong your anger, because long seething anger becomes an extremely dangerous thing. You then start to weaponize your anger and use it as a weapon to hurt. So don't prolong it. Do not let the sun go down on your anger. There's a time limit to it. If you stay angry, you're going to end up with all kinds of physiological problems. So note a time limit on the expression of hostile feeling. Be strongly disposed to real evil in your inner being. And number one, do not miss the mark by noting a time limit on your expression of hostile feeling. So don't prolong it. And number two, don't incubate it. Because if you incubate it, you're going to be nursing it. Don't prolong it. Don't incubate it, because you are creating a platform. You are giving the devil a toehold. And I've always wondered about this, because all Satan needs in my life and in yours is a pinprick. And through that pinprick, he's going to suck your and my vitality from our lives. Our vitality gets sucked through that pinprick. That's all he needs, just a pinprick. Don't give an opportunity to the devil. Don't give the opposer a chance. Don't give him a platform from which to invade your life. Because the enemy doesn't invade your life against your will. Mark 3 verse 5 says, yeah, be angry, but in your anger, do good. Channel that anger in a positive way. It's amazing the heat we expend, the energy that gets burnt up when you have a moment of anger. Do something good. Jesus did that. He overturned the tables in the temple because he said to those extortioners and making his house a den of robbers, he says, don't make this piece of real estate. Don't give the enemy a toehold right here. So use your energy positively. When you get real mad about something, expend the energy into a positive direction. Maybe you need to go for a walk around the block. Don't push it under the bed when you're done, but take a good brisk walk where you can burn up that energy. Walk on the beach. But don't walk into the waves to take your life. Okay? You need to do something proactive. And then Matthew 5 says, don't be angry without a cause, because you're going to hurt somebody, a brother or a sister, or somebody who gets in your way. So you can already see that there is so much that we need to learn from this text. And we need to learn to manage our anger, calibrate it in positive ways, because it is a powerful emotion. But we need to learn to manage our internal state, our interoception. Are you given to great bursts of anger? Well, you need to start to learn to balance your body budget. What's your body budget? Getting some good sleep. Eat properly. Eat well. Don't overeat. Don't undereat. Get in good sleep. Don't drink too much either and become inebriated. It's your body budget. What's your body budget? How are you balancing your body budget? And then are you in touch with your internal state? Or did you grow up like me, try to hide your emotions and push it into a little corner and lock it away tightly into a safe space? Well, all it's going to do is going to seethe there, and one day it will explode, and it could very easily decimate your life. But get in touch with how you feel, and don't be scared of saying, this is what I am feeling right now. Sometimes we are so scared to talk about how we feel because we think it's an ungodly thing to do. We're scared to express our emotions. Well, today you're going to have opportunity because if you live amongst people and you walk amongst people, you're going to have ample opportunity to exercise restraint and constraint. Constraints are those which things which come from the outside and exert a constraining effect on our lives. Restraint is what I have on the inside of my life, that I restrain myself. It's internal. Be on the lookout for opportunities today. When you're feeling something happening inside of you, start to talk to yourself. What is happening here? Why am I feeling this way? Take a moment. Take a moment to breathe. Have you ever wondered why we get so out of breath when we get angry? Because we don't even breathe. A lack of oxygen gets to the brain and we can't think straight. Oh, that's where the writer goes when he talks about concretion, living life in the real world. Because you and I need to learn to metabolize in the existential crisis of our dilemmas. They are things that are real, they are existential, they happen in real time. It's not a dream that you're going to wake up out of. It's the existential moment, the existential crisis of the dilemma in which you are moving. And you are metabolizing, you are processing in the midst of that. And your internal state comes right into it. Be strongly disposed to real evil in your inner being and do not miss the mark by noting a time limit on the expression of your hostile feelings. And do not give the opposer a chance. I trust that as you go into this day, you'll process on the basis of who God is and how He desires for you to be in control of you. Have your power under control. As you go with God today, I trust that you will enjoy Him. Goodbye for now.